6 videos, we did the binomial distribution and Poisson distribution using the TI. I wanted to also show you how you could use the NUMWORKS app on your phone or the computer to do the same things. Now the first section, that was all kind of just finding probabilities by hand. Those are easy. But it's when we got to finding the mean, standard deviation, variance, that you needed the calculator. And so these were the instructions for the TI. I'm now going to add in the instructions for using the NUMWORKS calculator. So what we're going to do is, for this, we're going to go to the statistics menu. So that's on the main screen. It's the statistics app. And under data, so you have to kind of back arrow and then arrow over till you get to data. The values are going to be your x's, and your frequencies are going to be your probabilities. So under value, you put your x's, and under frequency, you put the probability. So I've already done that for the first example, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the frequencies are the probabilities because that's the frequency of it occurring. Then next, you go to the stats column. So I'm going to back arrow. You can look at the histogram and box plot if you want as well. And under stats, it gives me my mean. Let's double check. The mean was 7.48. It says 7.48. It gives you your standard deviation and variance. Standard deviation and variance match. So that's how you would find the mean, standard deviation, and variance. Next, we'll look at the binomial distribution. So hold on just a second. All right, for the binomial distribution, that was under the distribution menu in the TI. It's in a different place in the other calculator. So we're going to go to either the app or online, however you want to do it. But on the main screen, this time we're going to select probability. We're not wanting a mean, we're not wanting a standard deviation, we're wanting to find a probability of something happening. So I'm going to go to probability. And this first one is binomial, so guess what? We're going to pick binomial and click OK. Now, so this first example we had in a recent poll, 10% of adults said they consider themselves to be gamers, assume that 18 were sampled. The N is going to be the number of samples we had. So the N was the 18. So I'm going to change that to 18. And P is the probability of success. So I'm going to change that to 0.10. And then we're going to click next. And it even tells you that N is the number of trials and P is the success probability. I love that it actually gives you all that information. Now click next. We have to think about whether we want what kind of probability we're finding. And it starts off that it's the probability of being less than or equal to a certain value. Well, on the first one, we want to know the probability of X equaling 3. So what you can do is left arrow over to where the graph is highlighted and click OK. The first option is being less than a value. The second option is being between two values, greater than, and the last option just has a line on it. If I click that, that's the probability of being exactly a value. So I'm going to say exactly 3. And look, it gives me 0.168. Now, probability of being fewer than 2. For the calculator, fewer than 2, it wouldn't be less than or equal to 2 because it doesn't say equal to 2. This would be the probability of being less than or equal to 1. So I'm going to arrow over, and I'm going to pick the less than, and less than or equal to 1. And it gives me 0.45. Compute the probability that more than 2 of them consider themselves gamers. Now, with the TI, you had to do 1 minus the probability of being less than or equal to 2. But in this one, you can actually do the probability of X being, and it's going to be greater than or equal to, if I'm more than 2, that's going to be greater than or equal to 3. So let's see how that works. Greater than or equal to 3. 0.266. So it actually gives me the same answers. What about the number who consider themselves gamers is between 1 and 4? I love this calculator because you can actually go, whoops. This option where it has a section like that, it's going to be between 2 X values. So you can actually find the probability of being between 1 and 4. This is lovely because it's a little bit less work on you. Let's see if we get the same answer. We got 0.822 with the TI. Got the same thing here. Now, for the Poisson distribution, let me grab those. For the Poisson distribution, let's go back into the probability. We're going to back arrow a little bit till we get to the options for our distribution. If you look down at the bottom, there is a Poisson distribution. Now we have to be careful here. This lambda is not the lambda here because this is 3, this was the hits on a website, 3 hits per minute in a 2-minute interval. So I'd have to actually choose a 6 there. And that does get confusing a little bit. And in the notes, we wanted to find the probability of being exactly 5. So that's the option at the bottom, being exactly a value. Exactly 5 is 0.16. Less than or equal to 2 would be the less than 2, 0.06. Greater than 2, we could actually do in this calculator the probability of being greater than or equal to, if I'm greater than 2, that would be greater than or equal to 3. So I'm going to go select the graph, choose the greater than option, greater than 3, 0.938, which rounds to 0.94. So you can do all the same calculations, but with the Poisson distribution, it actually is a little bit easier. If you have any questions on how to use this calculator, please don't hesitate to email me.